Recording in progress. Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Good morning, honorable members. Welcome to today's meeting. It is related an invitation that our meeting will start at 11 o'clock. I think we should start with the decided to invite you to today's meeting in preparation to Mkhwanazi before us next week, Tuesday, the 7th of October, like this, so that each one of us can have an understanding on the level of preparations, but what will also be the order of proceedings on that day. So this meeting is specifically convened for that purpose, so that when we leave here, we leave with the firm understanding of how we are going to do things on a Tuesday when General Mkhwanazi appears before us. I want to take this opportunity and welcome all of you, and also inform you that you are free to participate in this meeting like we have been doing all along. Any input that can help us to have a successful procedure is welcome, and will help this committee to do its work. Bonani, can I check if we have apologies?
Good morning, Chair. We have got an apology from Mr. Cameron. He's got a doctor's appointment.
Honorable Cameron is serving a doctor's appointment. Honorable members, can I check with yourselves if you have apologies that you want to register in the meeting? Is any one of you who may want to make an apology, you are allowed. Honorable Matthews.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of the ad hoc committee. Honorable Malemba will be joining us shortly. He just had a prior engagement that he had to complete. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Yeah, it appears that it's the last apology that we have for today. I'm going to request Bonani to fly the agenda on the screen.
Is it me who's out of the meeting or?
No, you are in the meeting, Chief Whip. You can
okay.
you can tell me if you see the agenda on the screen. I can't see it.
He can be out of the meeting, Chair.
No, I can't
Looks
see
like
it.
he doesn't want to be here today.
Bonani, what we see on the screen is a list of your documents, but the agenda is not here.
I don't know, but I see it on my. Let me try again.
Yeah, thank you so much. We now have the agenda on the screen. Of course, it's all the items are condensed into item number. We are going to start with General Stabani. He will briefly take us through might have heard him speak in the last meeting that in terms of security arrangements, not much details will be disclosed here, especially that the meeting is publicly televised. So the understanding is that the report that he will give here will make members understand that all the security matters that have to be attended have been that has been done. So any arrangement or any matter that members may want to clarify, they can always call him if it does not require that such a matter can be presented in the meeting. So we will take him first to make that presentation. And then secondly, we are going to invite Andile. Remember, there was a matter on the participation of alternates in the last meeting, so that we all of us live here understanding what is going to be the position or the status of alternates during the proceedings on Tuesday. And then the senior counsel will then take us through the order of the proceedings step by step until 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 23 hours on a Tuesday evening, when we will be also been a matter that Honorable Matthys has inquired about on witnesses who would have wanted to come before the committee. The technical team will clarify that whether they have been able to send acknowledgements to those potential witnesses who would have returned to the committee. But I think it's a process. However, they will clarify that for the understanding of everybody. And in the presentation, I think by the senior counsel, he will also let us know how soon we can have sworn statements of our witnesses available. Remember the last time we said we are revising the period from 7 days to 3 to 4 days. So I should think that when we leave here, all of us should be knowing when are we going to receive those sworn statements. Can I check with the honorable members if you have any additional items to put on the agenda? I don't see any hand, so it means there is no intention to speak on the agenda. Can I request one of you to move for the adoption of the agenda?
Chair, I move that the agenda be adopted as it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Nhlanhla. Any seconder?
I hereby do, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning to you and good morning to honorable colleagues.
Good morning to you, Honorable Ngango, and thank you so much for seconding the agenda. Let's just move straight, honorable members, and invite General Stabani to take us through security arrangements. General Stabani, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and honorable members of the ad hoc committee. Is Lieutenant General Sam Setlhabane. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to present. We would not have a presentation in terms of PowerPoint, but it's just to, as the chair would have indicated, we'll just give a brief overview in terms of where we are, in terms of security arrangement. We have interacted, Honorable Chair and honorable members, in terms of the province, in terms of law enforcement. We are ready, even with the national components that would be supporting. We have interacted, so we can be able to say safely we are ready to resume in terms of security arrangement with the ad hoc committee. In terms of the the venue itself, which is a Good Hope Chamber. I think the advantage that we should also understand is that it is already a secured venue. So what we're bringing is just additional security, sort of elements that would support. Just to give an indication, there is a normal template that we use to deal with security of this kind of committees. Like you would have a 24-hour VOC that is monitoring, which then we sit with all the security forces that are in support, so that then we get reports and any other potential risk would be able to mitigate as we go along. We receive all those reports, whether from city security, which was supported by the province in terms of the law enforcement. So I think briefly we are ready. Would be able. I think the chair, you would have said something, Honorable Chair, something that is important. If there is then a request, we are available to be able to take individual requests and concerns, and then we'll be able to activate the existing protocols in terms of being able, because some of the things we have to deal with based on the individual, but in terms of the overall picture, we are in place, will be able to have on this honorable chair and honorable members. I think I would stop there, honorable chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant General. So in this case, you are saying that any security arrangement for our expectation is well taken care of.
That's correct, honorable chair. All the security arrangements have been taken care. The only, I think, a thing that we would not be able to do is to the presentation, in terms of PowerPoint, but all the arrangements, they're in place. We had several meetings building up, would then interact even with the technical team, and then would get then the schedule, and based on that, then we would then put in place. So all those arrangements are in place, honorable chair.
Okay. Thank you so much. Can I then take Andile on the participation of alternates? I think you remember, Andile, previously the committee arrived at a decision on the alternates for minority parties. So the alternates that we're talking about here are those for the ANC, the MKP, the DA, and the EFF respectively. So the strongest sentiment that emerged out of the meeting was that we need to be manifestly seen doing justice to all the alternates, regardless of minority parties. If there is a rule that applies, it must apply across the board for all the alternates. So can you please take?
Good morning.
Okay, my hand is up before you move on.
Okay, Honorable James.
Thank you so much, Chair. I want to ask on the issue of security before we move on to the next point. The time of the sittings.
Yeah, we are going to take the two items after Andile's presentation.
Okay, because I'm asking, we speak, and while we can't go in depth into security details, security for members to and from, but I guess this is based on the time of the sitting.
Yeah, it's fine. Let's take Andile and then we will then take the rotation on the two items.
Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning to the honorable members and my colleagues. Chairperson, at the last meeting, we were requested to provide advice on the extent of participation of alternate members in committee meetings, of course, in this committee. Chairperson, in terms of the House resolution of 23 July 2025, which established this ad hoc committee, this committee has 11 members, namely 4 members for the ANC, 2 members for the DA, 2 members for MKP, 1 member for the EFF, and 2 members for other parties. On the 30th of July 2025, the names of the members appointed for this committee and their alternates were published in the ETC in accordance with Rule 1553 of the Assembly Rules. In the interest of time, Chairperson, we will not mention the names of these members, as we have already done so in previous meetings. Alternates are substitutes or stand-ins. Rule 156, sub-rule 2 of the Assembly Rules provides that an alternate acts as a member when the member for which the alternate was appointed is absent or has vacated office until the vacancy is filled. In other words, their membership is only triggered when the members for which the alternates were appointed are absent or have vacated their office until the vacancy is filled. Put differently, alternates are not members of this committee. their membership is only triggered by the two events we have just mentioned, i.e., absence of the member for which the alternate was appointed, or vacation of office by the said member until the vacancy is filled. The rules of the National Assembly do not use the nomenclature of an alternative member, of an alternate member. And the reason is simple, Chairperson. You cannot be a member and an alternate at the same time. You can either be a member or an alternate. Our authority for this is Rule 156 of the Rules of the National Assembly. The second issue is the extent to which alternates can participate in committee meetings. Their participation is sanctioned by Rule 185, Sub-Rule 2A of the Assembly Rules, which provides that a member of the Assembly who is present at a meeting of a committee may speak on a matter before the committee, subject to any reasonable restrictions the chairperson may impose. Furthermore, Rule 185, Sub-Rule 2B of the Assembly Rules provides that a member of the Assembly who is present at a meeting of a committee may not vote, except when the vote is cast as an alternate in terms of Rule 156. Simply put, alternates can only vote in the absence of the member for which the alternate was appointed, or in the event of vacation of office by the said member until the vacancy is filled. At one of our previous meetings, Ms. Sangoni raised the issue of a possible disharmony in the rules of the National Assembly regarding the participation of alternates and other Assembly members in committee meetings. We would like to take this opportunity to explain that there is no incompatibility between Rule 156 as it relates to alternates and Rule 185 as it relates to the participation of other Assembly members in committee meetings. Alternates participate like other members of the Assembly in committee meetings, subject to any reasonable restrictions the chairperson may impose. However, over and above their membership of the over and above the fact that their membership of the committee is triggered, over and above that their membership of the committee is triggered when the members for which they were appointed are absent or have vacated their office until the vacancy is filled. This added benefit, which only alternates have, does not apply to other members of the Assembly who are not alternates. At our last meeting, Mr. Souls complained that alternates of other parties, in this instance, Mr. Vessels and Ms. James, seem not to be given equal airtime as other alternates, and were requested to advise on this view. In this regard, we would like to make the point that the Assembly rules make no distinction between alternates of other parties and other alternates in general. Alternates are alternates, and the guiding provision is Rule 156 of the Assembly Rules. In summary, Chairperson, alternates are not members of this committee, but they can only act as members when the members for which the alternates are absent or have vacated office until vacancies are filled. Alternates may speak on a matter before the committee, subject to any reasonable restrictions the chairperson may impose, and they may not vote except when the vote is cast as an alternate in terms of Rule 156. In other words, they can only vote in the absence of the member for which the alternate was appointed, or in the event of vacation of office by the said member until the vacancy is filled. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
So you, in the strictest sense of the word, you mean if a team fails 11 players, the 12th player cannot be expected in the pitch?
Correct, Chairperson.
Okay, I think honorable members understand that. And then for the purpose of
sorry, Chair, my network was interrupted. I missed your question and the answer. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was asking him if Bafana have fielded 11 players. The 12th player who is a substitute has to remain on the bench until the need arises for that player to come into the pitch. And he says, yes. So Andile, for the proceedings, what does it mean? It means that if a party like the ANC has 4 members, the 4 members are the ones who are going to participate in the proceedings next week.
Yes, Chairperson. For instance, if I can just make a simple example. If you go to paragraph 5.6.2 in terms of reference, it says, all members of the committee will be given an equal opportunity to pose any further questions to witnesses, a minimum of 30 minutes per member, where questioning requires such time. Now, Chairperson, here, as I said, you only have 11 members of the committee, Chairperson. I won't repeat that. And that particular provision, Chairperson, relates or applies, to them. Of course, Chairperson, you have a discussion. If you feel like the time allows and therefore you want to give alternates, let's say 2 minutes each or whatever, of course, the restriction must be reasonable, as the rules say. But the fact of the matter, Chairperson, is that we have a committee here with 11 members and 7 alternates. And for instance, if I can make a simple example, if the chief whip is not here, Honorable Sokanyele will come in as a member, in other words, so that the ANC does not find itself in a situation where it doesn't have 4 members when the person who can alternate the chief whip is in the meeting. I'm not such a person if I'm clear.
No, it's very clear, Andile. I want to rotate the two items, the item of security and the participation of alternates to the members. Of course, the latter item is not new in the committee. The committee has expressed itself previously on it, and it was very strong that the rules have to be adhered to. So, but for today, what I'm going to need the advice from committee members, especially, so that we don't go and upset each other on a Tuesday. The committee members need to advise the chair to say, for instance, here, we are going to take a decision on the alternate members from the majority parties that are here, ANC, MKP, DA, and EFF. And then there are 2 alternate members for the minority parties, that is Honorable Wessels and Honorable James. And so in this case, the ANC will be allocated, for instance, 2 hours, 30 minutes per speaker. And the MKP will be 1 hour, the DA will be 1 hour, the EFF will be 30 minutes. And the IFP and the PA will be, both of them will exhaust 1 hour, 30 minutes each. So now what I would want to know, so that if the chair has to exercise a discretion in the meeting, in case out of the hour allocated to the DA, they use 40 minutes. Does the meeting advise the chair to say, this is where you can exercise your discretion and decide if you still want the 20 minutes to be exhausted by the DA? Or when these parties have exhausted let's say you give the ANC 2 hours, they exhausted their 2 hours, and then you give the MKP 1 hour, they exhaust their hour, the DA 1 hour, they exhaust their hour, the EFF, the IFP, and the PA exhaust their 30 minutes each. Can the chair come at the end and say, now that you have spoken, I now want to allocate maybe 5 minutes each for the alternates, in case they may want to say to participate. It is not given that all those alternates may want to speak, but there may be those, especially from minority parties, who do not have seats in the committee, like in the case of Honorable Wessels and Honorable James. You may find that they may want to say something. What is the take of the committee on that? Because these are alternates whose parties do not have seats in the ad hoc committee. I understand that the rest of us are represented in the committee, and our alternates, to a large extent, may feel covered by the questions that we would have raised, because my assumption is that parties, when they come here, they come prepared to say, in case there is a matter like this one, this is how we approach it. So what about those parties, for instance, who prepare for the meeting because they are alternates, and when they arrive here, in the case of the Freedom Front Plus and the Action SA, I very much understand that the rule says the committee has 11 members. And so the last member of the committee will be the PA. The Action SA, neither the Action SA nor the Freedom Front Plus will be the IFP, nor they will be the PA. But they are alternates, and they are grouped under what we call minority parties. So I want you, honorable members, to express your view so that when we go to the proceedings next week, we must not come out of the proceedings and the chairperson becomes the problematic person who has refused alternate A or B or C to speak. The chair must take heed of the advices that he would have been given by the members of this committee. And if the committee says, Chair, we allow you to exercise your discretion, the committee can say so. And the committee can also advise to say, but your discretion must not be excessive. You have to limit yourself within certain boundaries where you don't end up giving an alternate member 10 or 15 minutes. We need to reaffirm the status of these members as alternates in the committee, but we must also be sensitive. We must also be human enough to understand that we can't always be positivist in terms of the enforcement of the rules. We may have to sometimes take a contextual interpretation of the rules to say, in the circumstances like the one that we have, we may want to allow alternates to participate, but to a limited extent. Honorable members, I'm rotating the two items before you to get your advice. The items are the security brief that we got here and the interpretation on the participation of the alternates. The rules are very clear. The committee must advise the chair on what do you think the chair can do during the proceedings. Thank you so much. Can we start with the ANC?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and good morning to yourself and all honorable members on the platform. Chair, I think we understand that, in your motivation, you would seek to be inclusive in the participation of members in the ad hoc committee. But maybe let me start with a question around the alternates, especially the alternates of the minority parties. If I'm not mistaken, the alternate is Honorable Vessels. I think I just need clarity, Chairperson, in terms of the participation then of Honorable James, or are they both alternates? I think that point may be important for us to clarify so we understand who the alternate is for the minority parties. Then secondly, Honorable Chairperson.
Maybe before you go ahead, in the order of the parties, the first alternate is Honorable Vessels. Yeah. In the order of the parties, Honorable Vessels will be the. Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. Then I would understand it to be that if we're talking about an alternate for the minority parties, then we have an alternate that is Honorable Vessels, and then I don't know if Honorable James then becomes an alternate of the alternate, and that's quite important, Chair, because we're just trying to get a sense of how many alternates we are talking about. Secondly, Chairperson, you make a recommendation which is based on, I think it was item 5.6 of the terms of reference, which references the amount of time that is given to a member, and it specifically says member, it does not say party. Now, your recommendation that is before us for consideration is that we then take the amount of time that is allocated and we convert it to a party rather than the member, which I don't think we would have a problem with that, Chair. But we also, there's a reason why the number of members are limited, and there's a reason why those members are specified. And we don't believe that alternates should necessarily participate in the same manner, or at least given the same amount of time with members of the ad hoc committee. Perhaps you would want to limit the amount of time that is given to alternate members in the participation, which would not necessarily, it could be whatever is left off as you are suggesting. I don't think that we would have a fundamental problem with that. But when you then find that alternates are the ones who are participating while the full complement of the committee is here, then it becomes a problem for us. But having said that, we would not object to you saying that within the time that a party is given instead of a member, that a party is given, then, if the parties wish to use that for the purposes of bringing the alternates in for engagement, we will support that, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the MKP.
Chair. Chair, am I audible?
Yes, Honorable Nomvalo, you are audible. You can go ahead.
Yeah, on the security briefing, I think we've just noted the briefing. There's nothing much to submit on it. And then on the latter one, I think the proposition that you have made is suggestive of a solution, Chair, that if we allocate time to parties in accordance with the membership that they have here in the committee, to say if the ANC has 4, then it means they are going to have 2 hours, because 30 divided by 4 is 2 hours. And then the same applies with other parties. And then parties will agree members will agree amongst themselves as to how they allocate that time to each member. For instance, as the MK party, if we were to follow that route, we're going to have an hour. So we can say within this hour, as members, we take maybe 20 minutes, and then the remaining minutes we give them to an alternate, Honorable Shongwe. I think that is the best amicable solution to this quagmire, Chair. We support it. And we say, let's stick on the rules. Let's allow them to participate in our meetings. And their rights must only be limited when it comes to voting. That is our submission. Thank you.
So, Honorable Nombalo, yeah, I think your suggestion is taking us somewhere. So you are suggesting that the parties can discuss that up between themselves. Let's say for yourself as the MKP, you have 2+1. So you can determine how that one can be accommodated as a party.
Correct. Say we have an hour, then we can decide to say on this hour, we can decide on how we share this hour as members.
Okay.
To say I get 40 and 20, then 10.
Okay. And so it means the minority parties will also have to get into that kind of an arrangement.
Yeah, that's why it gets complex, Chairperson, because if we are to follow this, it will be made in accordance with the membership that parties have. Now,
we're not prescribing for them. We just edge them.
I beg your pardon, Chair?
I'm saying we may not prescribe for them, especially that they are not one party. So we can just edge them.
That's correct, Chairperson.
Because what you are suggesting, it works better for substitute who may be coming from one party.
That's correct.
But in the case of the minorities, there are now 4 parties here. It's the IFP, the PA, the Freedom Front Plus, and Action SA. But you are saying that we can urge them to find each other and see how the allocations can be done.
That's correct, Chair.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Or maybe 30 minutes might be given to all of them to share it. I don't know.
Okay, let's hear the DA. The Democratic Alliance.
Good morning, Chair. Sorry, my connection is not good, so I'm not switching on my camera and I keep losing you. And good morning to everybody. Chair, I think we should take the view that the members of the committee should exhaust their time, and if they have exhausted their time and there's time over, it should go to the alternates if they have anything to add. So, yeah, that's our view.
What is your view, Honorable Breitenbach?
Oh, I've just said so. We will exhaust our time. The main members will exhaust their time. And if there's any time left over from the time, if we don't use all our time, then the alternates can have the time that's over.
Yeah. What you say is not different from what the ANC and the MKP are saying. To say that if, let's say you have 30 minutes yourself as a member of the committee, and there is 5 minutes left on the time allocated to you. So can the chair use his discretion to allocate it to your alternate member?
That's what we're saying, Chair.
Okay. So we agree. The EFF?
Chair, just we note the security plans that were presented to us. And on the issue of alternates, I think we must just admit that our National Assembly rules is fall short in this regard, because if you read the first rule, it says that members of parliament can participate in any committee, and I don't know why the ad hoc committee would not fall into that category. And there's no rule specifically on the participation of members and alternates in the committee. So I think that the presentation that Andile has given is not as sound as it should be, because there is no rules really that exclude any members from participating, or NA members rather, from participating. And also our terms of reference can't be they have to be within the rules of parliament. But having said that, Chair, we also shouldn't come from the premise of trying to silence members of parliament. They represent the people. This is the people's parliament as well. I do understand that we don't want to have the committee go on and have unnecessarily time on frivolous issues, but the point is that if we use parliament portfolio committees as a base, this is not our debates or declarations, etc., in the National Assembly where parties can talk on for hours and hours. We literally are going to be questioning members. So for us to be spending this amount of time discussing the participation of alternates, I think it's unnecessary. We don't have a crisis in portfolio committees in terms of us asking questions when we have presentations there. The input that the alternates must be allocated a fair amount of time. We take that, and yeah, we support the submissions that, the Chair, use your discretion. But when we do call you to order, Chair, you must also just hear us out as well in that regard. But limiting time to like 5 minutes or 2 minutes to alternates, I don't think that is in the interest of the public. Thank you, Chair.
The IFP.
Well, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. With regards to the security arrangements, one would like to note that, but ask the extent to which members of the public would be allowed to actually attend, and if so, how that will be managed without actually getting into details, because one wants to or does not want to see a stampede developing, on Tuesday. That's one. Two, regarding the time allocation for alternates, I think I go along with the suggestions that have actually been made by the first three speakers, the ANC, MK, and the DA. I think it provides a practical and a workable solution, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay, can we then take the
Honorable Chair, and colleagues, can you hear me, Honorable Chair? Because I struggled. I lost you there for a minute.
Yes, we can hear you, Honorable Sals.
Honorable Chair, on the security briefing, I I take note of it. On the issue of the alternates, the explanation of Andile and what you put forward sounds a bit contradictory in this sense. My understanding is that the other parties, us as the other parties, in terms of the formula, is considered as one block. So we consider it as one party, for the lack of a better word. The other parties are, because of based on the formula, it is majority. So therefore, they're representative of themselves. But so includes all parties. We, which is ourselves, and IFP, is clubbed together with the smaller parties. But so that all of us have representation, we are then allocated 2 seats on the committee. And as all these parties, we then have to come together and say who as one block is going to represent us. And of course, the other parties chose ourselves, the PA, and the IFP. So we then are treated as one party. Then the system of alternates kicks in. So we've got 2 full members, and then for each full member, there is an alternate. So I don't understand the concept of first alternate, second alternate. It is 2 alternates for 2 full members. In other words, if I am available as in terms of Rule 185, then Honorable Vessels would stand in. If I am not available, Honorable James will stand in for the entire block of other parties. So it is not Honorable James comes after Honorable Vessels. It is Honorable Vessels is for IFP. Honorable James is is my alternate. In the same way as the rules describes alternates for the other parties. Andile was very specific to say that the rule does not differentiate between alternates of the general parties and alternates of other parties. Alternates are alternates. So the question that was posed last week or in our last meeting was based on the fact that the alternates of the majority parties was treated differently in terms of participation than the alternates of the other parties or the bloc. So I wanted to understand what is the reason for that? What is the justification for that? And in the entire explanation, the explanation that Andile gave supports the notion that there's no differentiation. In other words, if, for example, honorable members of the MKP, full members, are present, and the alternates are equally present in the meeting, what you would do, Chair, is you would allow the alternates of MKP to participate just like the full members. Similarly to the EFF, if Honorable Malema is here, Honorable Mates is present together with the full member of the EFF, and both of them participate. Similarly to the MKP and others. When it comes to the other parties, us, then our alternates are not given the same opportunity to participate. That is in our previous meetings. So that's where that question stems from. Now the question around when the committee starts and the time allocation. The time allocation is for full members. So you give the times for the full members. And I agree with, if the times is exhausted and there's still time left, then alternates can also take from that time. Or if alternates of the other parties are given a full-time allocation, then our alternates should equally be given a full-time allocation. So what I'm basically calling for is that, one, the rule does not differentiate between other parties' alternates and the majority party alternates. So there should not be a difference in treatment. So whatever you give the alternates of majority parties, such must also equally be given to our alternates. I hope that that clarifies the position, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable James.
No, Chair, I think right now I'm extensively covered by Honorable Mates as well as Honorable Salz. On the first issue in terms of security, it is noted. I did ask the question. On the second point, speaking to alternatives, I think at this point, judging from the public's expression, they feel that every week we spend so much time discussing something that is fairly simple in terms of what the rules are saying. We're allowed to participate, we're not allowed to vote, and now it's just a matter of time. I'm glad the issue also of an alternate that has been, I wanted to cover that, but that has been covered as well. I think it's just now for us to actually make the decision. Thank you, Chair.
In this case, we are going to follow the rules. The majority view in this meeting is that we must follow the rules. We are going to follow the rules. And then, hello, Honorable Vessels. Oh, I did not notice your presence. I'm sorry. You are welcome.
Thank
Do you
you,
want to
Chair.
make
I'm always present. You also skipped me last week, but that's not a problem. Chairperson, if I just may say that I really don't think it's needed to reinvent the wheel. There's been many ad hoc committees and many inquiries in Parliament and in previous parliaments, and it is quite specific that the process and the procedure that's followed in this committee specifically is very partisan. It's not usually as such. And that's why usually what will happen, for instance, is there's 11 members. And if there's something to speak on, there would be, let's say, 11 opportunities given. And if the priority is then to the full members. If a full member does not raise his hand, and there's only 8 full members, then any other members present are then in the discretion of the chair given an opportunity up until 11 points. That's how it usually works. We had the ESCOM inquiry that was a very high level inquiry. We had a lot of members of the National Assembly being alternates or not alternates to that committee attended. and it had to be managed so that those hearings did not last 24 hours with all the attention that inquiry had. But obviously, the chairperson would then allocate that type of mythology. And Chair, if that is the way that you are suggesting that it's per party, the other parties will also we'll discuss it under with each other, and we'll then if the full members utilize their time, they do that. If they don't, me and the Honourable James will participate. But thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Honourable members, I think we are going to conclude the matter in accordance with the views of the majority contributions in this meeting. We are going to follow the rules, honourable members, and then we will allow all the parties, the 11 members that are part of the committee, to participate. And then the chair will use a discretion, reasonably, of course, where time allows. We will allocate the alternates time to participate in the meeting. But we cannot go for a blanket approach that says alternates are members of this committee. They are going to participate. Members have emphasized this, that this committee is an ad hoc committee, and a rubric for membership of this committee has also been outlined and presented in the National Assembly, which was adopted, how many members each party will have in the committee, and that the committee of 11 members was being established. Of course, there is no committee which can be established in terms of our rules without provision for alternates. So we have these alternates here with us, but the rules must enjoy precedence over any other sentiment. So we will reasonably exercise the discretion. Nobody should feel excluded from this committee, but the rules are paramount. So we will stick to the rules, and we will allow the alternates a fair and reasonable participation in the proceedings. I think I have taken your advices, members. We will find how to make them actionable during the proceedings. Can we then move to the next?
Sorry, Chair. Before you move, my hand is up.
Okay, Honourable Sangwan.
I do apologize, Chair, and I am not going to disagree with your summary, but I think that this issue can't be left unattended, Chairperson. Alternates are not there for the purposes of trying to undermine proportionality, and which therefore means that in that block they have 2 alternates, and there's an expectation, it seems to be, that these alternates may then both participate. Now, if you look at the majority parties, the African National Congress with 4 members has 1 alternate. MK Party with 2 members has 1 alternate. DA with 2 members has 2 alternates. Now, if we are going to want to say that we are going to give these alternates an opportunity to participate, and we do so without having clarified what I was raising in terms of alternates of alternates, then we're going to have a situation where the very essence or the very building blocks of proportionality in this committee is undermined. So the minority parties, like Honourable Sol was saying, are 1 block with 1 alternate. And that alternate is the Freedom Front Plus. In the event that that alternate is then unavailable, or they choose that it's going to be Honourable James who's going to participate, they can do that. But to have them both undermines exactly the essence of proportionality in this committee, Chair. So I just want to put it out there that as you consider and apply your discretion, please do keep that in mind, because if we were to go with Honourable Sol's approach, then it means that the ANC must have 4 alternates. And once we do that, because he says there's an alternate for each member. Now, once you do that, are you going to allow all 4 of our alternates to participate? Chair, this is an issue that I think we shouldn't undermine, because that is how we then started discussing this issue, where the minority parties want to have all alternates participating, and the same is not afforded to us in terms of having an alternate per member. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, no, that point is taken, Honorable Sangoni. Can we now move to the next?
Yeah, my hand has also been up, and it was up before you closed or you summarized.
Okay, Honorable Matthys.
Kache, just on the rules, I think we must be very clear, and I don't think Andile also spoke to this, and maybe he can answer this question. Where is there a specific rule that talks to ad hoc committee members that says that members of the National Assembly cannot participate? I think that is the bigger question here. And we're not necessarily opposed to the position that has been taken, but it's incorrect for us to go on and present rules or the interpretation of the rules that that there is still a gray area here. I mean, section, 185 specifically says that members of parliament can attend any committee meetings, right? And they cannot, and we've agreed, and it's clear that they cannot participate. And it establishes that there's no committees that are closed to members of the National Assembly. So that's clear. So maybe Andile can tell us, point us to the rules that excludes members of parliament from participating in ad hoc committees, whether they're alternates or not. We're using the word alternates, it's fine. But the rules speak to members of parliament. So I think we must just be clear, and also we have the public that is watching here, and we mustn't misinterpret what the rules are saying. So maybe we've missed where the rule specifically says that in an ad hoc committee, there's a rule that excludes any member of the National Assembly from participating.
Honorable Chair.
Sols.
It's just very important for me to once again make clear that this question for clarity came about not because we are saying alternates must be given time just like full members. It arose because the decision was made that full members will participate, alternates will participate based on the discretion of the chair. However, in practice, in our meetings, I have to now make an example with the EFF. When Honorable Malema is in the meeting, both himself and the alternate, which is Honorable Matthys, participates fully. The same happened with MKP, but I think there was an explanation for that last week. But the understanding is that Honorable Matthys can only participate if Honorable Malema is absent, like today, for example. Honorable Malema is yet to come, but in his absence, the alternate is participating. But in previous meetings, this was not the case. So the question just arose simply to say that if the chairperson, honorable chairperson, grants the alternate members of other parties, of majority parties, equal participation as full members, the same privilege should apply for the alternates of our bloc. So I just want to correct the sentiment that we are not saying the rules should not apply. We are saying that if the rules apply for one, it should equally apply for the others. And then it's just a bit confusing also that in our block, we have 2 members that's been given based on the formula that was used. And like I said, my understanding was that there is, because we have 2 members, we then have 2 alternates, because the function of alternates is for one to replace the other. So therefore, 2 full members, 2 alternates. That was my understanding. I'm a bit confused by the notion that there is a concept of an alternate for an alternate. I've not seen that in the rules, and neither do I understand the explanation now. But I will leave that to you, Honorable Chair. But my understanding was that we've got 2 full members and 2 alternates, because the alternates is for the replacement. In the event that the 2 full members are not available, then there are 2 available alternates for each members. That was my understanding. And I'm not questioning it. I'm just saying that is how the formula that was used to form the ad hoc committee has been used to create this current formation. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair, I'm present.
Honorable Wessels, is your hand still up?
Yes, Chairperson, thank you. I don't want to belabor the point, but I do want to just respond to what Honourable the other organizations or minority parties, if you want, that forms a block. That is correct, as the Honourable Souls also pointed out. It is so that the motion that formed this committee, and this as ad hoc committee, and also ad hoc committees in general in the past has followed the same formula, does give 2 members to the other organizations and then 2 alternates. It is different from, for instance, the other parties, such as the ANC, that does not have an alternate for each member. The reason why there's 2 alternates is because it's composed of different political parties. They're not one political party, which means that an alternate is not there per member. I'm not an alternate for the IFP or for the member from the IFP. I'm an alternate for the formation, and the Honourable James is an alternate for the formation. So if one of the full members of the other organizations are not present, then firstly, I will be the alternate. If I'm not present, then the Honourable James is the alternate, or will stand in, be the member in that place. If both the full members representing the smaller parties are not present, then both of us will be the full members. So it's not an alternate for a specific member, and per member, it's 2 alternates because we are from different political parties. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Malem.
No, I was saying I'm available. I had someone saying I'm not here. I am in the meeting.
Okay, no, I thought you wanted to say something. Okay, honorable members,
Chair, sorry, just now to be practical, sorry, Chair, to be practical, can you now explain, now that Honorable Malema is present, will Honorable Mates participate as she has been for the entire meeting? Then we practical.
Yeah, let's hear the Chief
Yeah,
Whip.
can you see my hand?
Yeah, Chief Whip, I'm recognizing you.
Okay, no, thanks, Chair. Good morning to you, and good morning to, good day to all colleagues in the meeting. No, I just want to make a suggestion, Chair, which I hope will help us to deal with the predicament that we're discussing. I think firstly, I want to propose that we accept what you were saying as a summary, that each party will participate according to the allocated time for themselves. And in an event where there is an additional time not being utilized by Party A, the alternate of Party A must be given an opportunity to make an input within that time. But in addition to that, I want to propose that in circumstances where the half an hour of the EFF, as an example, is exhausted by Honorable Malema, and therefore there would be no time for Honorable Matheus to say anything. I want to put a rider to the summary you were making, that let's then allocate half of the time to the alternate. So in this case, we're moving from a direction that says Malema has got half an hour. He decides to speak for 20 minutes. Matheus can take over the remaining 10 minutes. But if in this case, Honorable Malema decides to speak for the whole half an hour, Honorable Matheus must also be given as an alternate at least half of that time, which is 15 minutes. That addresses a situation where the primal members or the full members may utilize the entire allocated time and have nothing remaining to be utilized by the alternate. That's the proposal I want to make. And I want to suggest that maybe for purposes of progress, this issue about the alternate for the other parties, my understanding is exactly the same as Honorable Sangoni's understanding, was that they've got two members, they met and decided on two members. And then they had to say, in case one of us is not there, what is going to happen? They said, no, Honorable Vessels will step in. What if both of them are not there? Okay, Honorable Vessels and Honorable James will step in together and assume the role of being full members of our committee. So in this case, my firm proposal is that it's your discretion, but that discretion at least should be guided by an additional 15 minutes that can be given to an alternate. And in the case of the other parties, that 15 minutes should be allocated to the alternate because the full members are going to be there. So the alternate in that case would be Honorable Vessels. But if the other parties are saying, no, we would like that 15 minutes to be divided between Honorable Vessels and Honorable James, I also think that we should not have a problem. But my view is that let's treat an alternate as an alternate of the block, not an alternate of an individual. Like I think the same way that Honorable Vessels was proposing. So that's my firm proposal, Chair. Thank you very much.
Do we still have any other member who wants to speak on this item?
No, Chair, we're well covered.
Okay. Honorable members, we are going to close this item. Okay, Honorable Skosan.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thanks for you to say that this matter we've been ventilating for some time now, and the rules and the proposals, I think, have been exhausted. The rules, the Parliamentary Legal Service told us what is exactly what's supposed to happen, but it's your discretion, and I just want to thank you for closing this matter now. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Skosan. Honorable members, it is not going to be possible for us to sit here and rewrite the rules. And that is how I introduced this item for discussion to say, we discussed this matter previously on the alternates of the minority parties. And in our last meeting, Honorable Sols raised the continued participation of alternates of majority parties. And when I introduced, and when we left the last meeting, we left it with the understanding that there must be equal participation of alternates. So if alternates do not participate, it must be across all parties. You can't have a situation where somebody from the ANC or the MKP participates when they are on an alternate to the committee, and Honorable Vessels, who is an alternate of the IFP or the first alternate of the minority parties, is not participating in the meeting. So we are going to flatly apply the rules, and the advice that I wanted from you as a committee was to say, when we start the proceedings on Tuesday, I stand to be advised by yourselves how do I exercise this discretion so that when we come out of the meeting, there must not be any of the alternate who falls the chair to have a disadvantage or disenfranchise them. So the understanding that I get from the meeting is that the discretion that the chair exercises during the proceedings must be reasonable. We will exercise that discretion, whether we allocate alternates time to speak or an opportunity to speak, but that will be limited and will be reasonably exercised. So with regard to what Honorable Sauls has just asked, we have explained it before, Honorable Sauls, but I understand you said that you have a difficult. We said that if a team fields 11 players, the alternate is regarded as a reserve. They are on the bench until an opportunity arises for them to be on the pitch. So the alternates for the ANC, MKP, DA, and EFF will not participate in the meetings unless an opportunity arises for them to participate. That should be the understanding. Is that sufficient, Honorable Sauls?
Honorable Chair, your analogy is not practicalized when it comes to the meeting. And therefore I said use the example of the EFF. Does your analogy of substitution mean? Because I understand Rule 185 of alternates. I understand it. I've just not seen it in practice in our meeting. And now to make me look like I don't understand it is a bit unfair here. Because I'm saying if I understand your analogy correctly, then in the case of EFF, Honorable Malema is fielded now.
Yeah. That is what it means.
Yes, Honorable Mates then will no longer participate because Honorable Malema is fielded. But what has been happening?
Correct.
But what has been happening is that both Honorable Malema and Honorable Mates has been equally participating. This, and it happened with the MKP too, and then they explained. This is what rose the question that I was raising. You see, so that the alternate only participates if the full member is totally not available. So for the duration of this meeting, to make it practical, seeing that Honorable Malema is present, we will now no longer have participation of Honorable Mates.
Yeah.
But this has not happened previously, and that's the point I was making.
Yes, Honorable Sauls. Remember, in the last meeting, I even thanked you for having the courage to raise the matter. You are very right with the point that you have raised in the last meeting. So it is going to cease to happen from now onwards. And I want once again to thank you for raising the matter and emphasizing it in the manner that you are doing. Is that okay?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it is.
Honorable members, let's move to the next item, which will be the presentation on the order of proceedings. Welcome, Senior Counsel Advocate Norman Arendse. You will present the proposed order of proceedings and on the avail. And I think you have also raised and present for the members to hear, and then we can determine how that matter remains on the table of the committee for discussions.
Thank you, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, and apologies for the absence of my two colleagues. They're busy with witness statements and getting some other documentation in order so that we can make it available to the committee. In relation to the Mkhwanazi statement, that statement may well have now already been posted on SharePoint or on some other platform. The reason for the delay, Chair and honourable members, has been that it's not been an easy matter finalising these statements. From our side, we've requested documentation from the witnesses, including General Mkhwanazi and other witnesses, and in turn, there's at times been a delay, explained and reasonable why documents were not made available as agreed, and that is the reason why there's been a delay. General Mkhwanazi has had a near final draft with him since yesterday lunchtime, but there's been further interactions with him, including early this morning. So I think it has now been finalized, and I think we still fall within the 3-4 day period to make a statement available to the committee. We are meeting later this afternoon with General Masemola also to go through his statement, and again tomorrow morning. So his statement should also be available later on Saturday or first thing on Sunday. If I may just ask a chair that we need to emphasize that when we make these statements available to the members, that they are under embargo and confidential, and members are not allowed to make any disclosures until we have in fact led the evidence, and that process will of course commence on Tuesday. As regards the order of business on Tuesday, I think you've indicated that we'll start at 9 o'clock. On the first day, we will, as evidence leaders, we will lead, examine the witness on the first day. You've indicated that will be as long as it takes, could be 4 o'clock or later. So that will be the proceedings for the first day. On the second day, on Wednesday, committee members will have an opportunity to ask questions of the witness, and thereafter, subject to your discretion, we may or may not ask an opportunity to again re-examine the witness if there are any issues we feel we should again traverse with the witness concerned, and that procedure will be followed in respect of each of the other witnesses. On Thursday, Friday, it will be General Masemola, and then the following week, General Sabia. That will be the so-called SAPS witnesses, followed by the ministers, former Minister Kele, Nkunu, and Kachalia, and then the two deputy ministers. So that will take place of what appears now to be the first phase of our inquiry. You have indicated, Chair and honourable members, that once the evidence of General Mkhwanazi has been led, you will decide on any other witnesses. Of course, that's up to the committee to decide, and if our advice or guidance is required or sought, then we will do that. We do still have the outstanding matter of the Inspector General, who has indicated that he would meet with us, but it was subject to directive from the chair, the joint chair committee, and that has not yet taken place. At the commencement of proceedings on Tuesday, Chair, you will obviously introduce the subject matter of this inquiry, the members on the committee and the alternate members, and I will then request to make an opening statement, and we will then proceed to call the first witness, General Mkhwanazi. I have inquired about whether and who will swear the witness in, and it appears that under the rules, you ex officio can administer the oath, or by way of affirmation, and call the witness, swear him in, or you can affirm, and we will then commence leading and examining his evidence. Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure if I've covered everything.
Okay. Maybe two important things, Senior Counsel, which we must clarify before we get to the rotation. The sworn statement of General Mkhwanazi, is it available?
It should now be available. I'm not sure whether it's been. It's just been indicated it is available on SharePoint.
Okay. Let's do one. Is the statement available?
Chair, I think maybe Andile will be able to respond, but from my side, I've not received any statement. Andile might have received it.
Okay, Andile.
I have not been on SharePoint, Chairperson. I'll ask for my colleagues. Yes, Tracy has just confirmed that it's on SharePoint. So it's there, Chairperson.
Okay, I think what you should do then, you must put the number of the responsible person for IT in the WhatsApp group, so that they should be able to take the members through on how they access the document. Is that okay?
Chairperson, that is okay, but maybe just to indicate that members will be expected to use their parliamentary email addresses in order to access SharePoint.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That in case there is a difficulty, the member must not struggle. They must just know who is the person they can call, who can take them through.
Chair, if I may just also mention that I am sitting in the parliamentary chamber as we speak, just to go through certain logistical issues. One of the issues relates to the documents. We have requested that hard copies of all the relevant documents, the witness statements, annexures, the Nhlanhla statement redacted, those documents will be made available in hard copy and will be placed in front of yourself, Honourable Chair, and the Honourable members. And so will all of us have access to the hard copies. Annexes and references or cross-references to other documents as we proceed through the evidence of General Mkhwanazi will be flighted on the screen and will, in reference, will be made to the hard copies where necessary. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. And then with regard to the order of proceedings on day one, senior counsel, what is your proposal?
The order?
Yeah. When General Mkhwanazi comes, let's say it is Tuesday, the 7th of October, it's 9 o'clock, and then the proceedings are declared open by the chair. What then happens?
Well, he will be in a waiting area, when you declare the proceedings open and indicate to members of the public and to the media what the purpose is of the meeting, you will ask me to and you will introduce members of the committee and you will then ask me to make an opening statement. I will make an opening statement, whereafter you'll call General Mkhwanazi as the first witness. You will then swear him in to take the oath or to affirm, and I will then proceed to engage with the witness.
Okay. And then let's say we are taking the statement paragraph by paragraph. You will be, as the evidence leader, you will be the one presiding over that exercise.
Yeah, Chair, I don't propose to go through the witness statement paragraph by paragraph. I will be examining the witness based on certain topics that I will take him through. Obviously, reference the statement. For example, the appearance on the 6th of July in front of the media and the public. We'll deal with that as a topic, and the statement itself makes reference to that. But I don't intend, unless the witness himself or I invite the witness to read any of the paragraphs in his statement. It will be somewhat different, Chair, from the procedure that was adopted when General Mkhwanazi gave his evidence to the Nhlanhla Commission. The reason for the difference in approach is also because I think most of you, most of the citizens have heard, seen the evidence given by General Mkhwanazi. So in relation to the factual matter, there will be some differences to what has been heard at the Nhlanhla Commission. Our emphasis will obviously be different because our terms of reference is different. So there will be differences, Chair. We will be having a further consultation with General Mkhwanazi on Monday to discuss some of these differences with him so that he's not caught by surprise. The other differences would also relate to the fact that we have, of course, been interviewing other witnesses identified by this committee who will be giving evidence and who are, in inverted commas, implicated, like Minister Mkhunu, General Sabia, and there will be occasions during General Mkhwanazi's evidence that we will put a version or different versions to him for his comment.
And then on day one, when you will be taking the general through that exercise, what becomes the role of the members?
Not during day one, Chair. Your opportunity, the honourable members obviously will have the opportunity on day two to pose their questions within the time allocated. So during day one, the engagement will be mainly between the evidence leader and the witness, unless there's obviously some burning issue that you and or one of the honourable members want to raise their hands or to indicate perhaps they didn't hear an issue properly or they want clarity. But I would not expect participation by the honourable members on day one.
Okay, yeah, I think you have clarified the issues so that when I rotate between the members, they should be able to understand what is it that you propose must happen on day one. So that is the proposal from the Senior Council. Honourable members, I think the question on the sworn statement has been clarified. So let's rotate the two items on the sworn statements and the proposal on the proceedings from day one. The ANC.
No, thanks, Chair, and thanks for the briefing from the Senior Council. Chair, we want to propose that the statement be made available for easy access, at least on our group, because it has been convenient for us to engage with documents as they are shared with us, either on our WhatsApp group or on our emails. But I need clarity on the statement before I move on to the next issue. Is the statement from Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi how do I put it for being correct? A new statement, or let me say, a statement separate from the one that he presented to the Judicial Commission of Inquiry. So, meaning, is this a sworn statement for us there may be certain similarities, or they may not, or is exactly the same statement as we have seen it circulating in public that was presented to the Commission of Inquiry? That's my question one. On the second issue, I don't mind to get an answer later, Chair. On the second issue,
maybe what we should do, Chief Whip, before you go to the second issue, let's allow the senior counsel to clarify your question so that you move with a better understanding. Senior counsel, did you hear the question?
I did. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Honourable Member. No, the statement is not the same. It's not the same as the statement that was before the Nhlanhla Commission. In fact, it is referenced, the Nhlanhla Commission statement, and it is an annexure to General Mkhwanazi's statement. So to that extent, it is incorporated by reference. In fact, we've tried to avoid repetition. So it's not the statement. There are some there are a number of material differences. There is some new matter, some not evidence yet because it hasn't been called yet, but new matter that's also been referred to in the statements. That is why we have asked that the statement be kept under embargo, and that honourable members not disclose it to any third parties or to the media until such time as the statement is released to the media, as was done with the Nhlanhla Commission on the day that he gives his evidence.
Okay, thank you so much. You can proceed, Chief Whip.
No, thanks, Chair. Well, maybe another question arises from what the senior counsel is saying. In terms of our terms of references, I think there was a decision that we will get the witness statements 7 days before the actual appearance of the witness before the ad hoc committee. Now, I'm not sure whether the understanding meant that our legal team, the senior counsel and his team, are the ones who are going to get it 7 days before, or all of us. My assumption, I may be wrong, was that was applicable to all of us. That question arises from the presentation or the answer provided by the senior counsel. And maybe to combine that, Chair, with another one about the time. We're starting at 9 o'clock. We are finishing what time? Has it been worked out that we start at 9, we finish at 6, or we finish when we're done? Just to get a sense of what is the layout of the day in terms of the time of our proceedings. And then let me just conclude, Honourable Chair, on the issue of the proceeding of the first day. Our view as the ANC is that the committee members, as much as the bigger part of what happens on the first day, should be delegated or should be led mainly by our legal team, on the basis of the detailed work that they've undertaken with the various witnesses on our behalf, obviously, which we could not and were not supposed to be doing it on our own. But we would like to suggest that, as the senior counsel was saying, the space must be provided for members to make certain interventions as and when the discussion between the senior counsel and the witness is unfolding. Not in a way that may divert the entire proceeding, but we are of the view that, as you are saying, there may be instances where questions are being asked, answers being provided, and I'm sitting there as a member and I believe, well, the senior counsel seems to think that the question has been adequately answered, and I don't think so. There should be that opportunity for me or any of the members to intervene and say, for my own clarification, can you further elaborate on this? And then of course, I understand the rationale behind them laying the foundation on the first day and with ourselves getting much more involved on the second day. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, remember, Chief Whip, we have revised the days from 7 to between 3 and 4 days. Okay, it's fine. Can we then move to Senior Counsel, the starting time and the ending time?
Well, I think you've indicated, Honourable Chair, that the start time is at 9. The ending time, it's going to depend. I mean, we could, like Nhlanhla has done, you want to make it like court times, which is from 10 to 11, have a tea break for 15 minutes, start again at 11:15 to 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock lunch, and then from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. We could structure it in that way, but it's unlikely that we'll finish at 4 o'clock. I think, as you've indicated in Parliament, you may want to sit a bit later. So I think we need to be flexible and try and finish on day one, so that the honourable members may have a full opportunity on day two to raise questions, ask questions, and that too will be from 9 o'clock until you're done, Chair. I think, or I would propose that that the honourable members, yourself, do not interject or intervene on day one, so that we can maintain the flow of the questioning, so that we can get through the witnesses' evidence on day one as quickly as possible, without much interruption. Otherwise, there may just be unnecessary delays. There will be an opportunity, as provided for in the terms of reference, for members to raise their questions and issues on day two. But again, Chair, you have a discretion to direct the manner in which the hearing is conducted. So if there's any burning issues that you or any honourable member wishes to raise during the questioning of the witness, then they must feel free to do so, and you will give a direction, Chair.
Thank you so much, Senior Counsel. If we where you're done, can I move to the MKP?
I'm done, Chair, but I think one of my colleagues wanted to make an addition, if with your permission.
Yeah, Honourable Nhlanhla, send this up. You are recognized, Honourable Member.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think, Chair, we agree in terms of having the first day fully on the testimonies that will be led by the evidence leaders. And I think the Senior Counsel did mention that members can also be allowed, but it must be on a very limited manner, to make a necessary short interventions. For example, the Senior Counsel made an example that if a member didn't get the answer from a question the Senior Counsel was asking to us, the questions from members on the second day are going to emanate mostly on what would have been accused on the first day. So, Chair, I think it will be important that we allow members a full role to play, but it was very limited so that we don't derail the smooth running. Chair, on the closing, opening and closing, Chair, I would propose to members that because we're already operating from the back foot in terms of time, was starting on the 7th when the National Assembly given us time to compile a report on the 15th. So I think let's leave it bottomless. Of course, we're going to make analysis day by day on which time would be convenient for us to get out. But I want to propose, Chair, humbly, that let us not have a closed time. We're going to make analysis as evidence is being adduced in the ad hoc committee. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much, MKP.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, now you can come in, Scosi. Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. Chair, we want to start on day 2 when members are throwing questions. I think there is an aspect that we have left behind, which we have not dissected. The aspect of follow-up questions, Chairperson. I think, Chairperson, that members would maybe want to make follow-up questions based on a question that has been posed by another member. So what is the limitation in terms of time in that regard? Are we allowing members, for instance, if a question is asked by Honorable Nduli, and then I feel that there is a follow-up question that I must ask from that question which has been asked by Honorable Nduli, because Honorable Nduli has not asked that question, or the member or the witness that is being questioned has not responded to my satisfaction. Are we allowed to do that? And if we are allowed, then what is the time limitation, and to what extent can we do it? So that is the first point. And then the second one, Chair, I think the last agreement with regards to the days on which statements must be given to members was that they must be given 3 days before the hearing. I think we amended from 7 days to 3 days. But still, even in the case, in the context of 3 days, I think they are already late, because I think we said 3 working days. So the statements were supposed to be received by us during the course of this week, before today. So I think, Chair, it's important that we don't encourage this kind of I won't call it laziness, but this kind of working. That in future statements must be given to members 3 days before, as we agreed in the terms of reference, as we have put it in the terms of reference, because we also want to prepare ourselves. That is my submission for now, Chair. Honorable Scosi will come in.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Nomvar. Honorable Skosana.
Thank you, Chair. I think the evidence leader spoke about the issue that the Nhlanhla Commission, they are doing some breaks, like a court process. I guess because of we are behind time, obviously you don't have to exhaust us as members. In terms of that, I think you'll find it in your description whether we go for if we start at 9. We spend 2 hours, or we spend 2.5, then we go 15 minutes, we come back. I think those logistics can be arranged. I don't think it's a train smash, but indeed we have to make sure that the first day and the second day is used ultimately to make sure that we are covering the ground, which we lost already. And as I said, in one of our meetings, that obviously the extension might happen depending on how are we going to move, on all these witnesses which we will have. But the opening one would be the most crucial one, that Mkhwanazi will lay the ground for us to be able to have all the proposed witnesses, and make sure that the time we are spending we spend it, in cognizance that we have delayed, and we can't blame anyone for now. I think we can proceed on that. That the issue of tea breaks and whatever, we need to make sure that at least members stay for focus, because staying for long as well, like we were doing in these meetings, I think sometimes is draining, so to speak. But indeed, we have to be able to work around that to say this is reasonable for everyone and for the evidence leader and those businesses as well. Thank you, Chair.
The DA. Honorable Breitenbach.
Chairperson, it's Honorable Schikkeling. How are you?
Fine, Honorable Schikkeling. How are you?
Thank you. I think Honorable Breitenbach is just struggling with signal, but we can just see if her signal is back again. Thank you.
I'm struggling with connectivity. If Honorable Schikkeling can answer, please.
Okay. What is your view, Honorable Schikkeling, on the matters that the Senior Counsel has presented here?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think that you can determine when we will be having the breaks and when not. I don't think we should follow exactly the same as the Nhlanhla Commission, because that does take up some of our time. As the Honourable Chief Whip said, we only have until the end of October, which doesn't give us very much time left. So I think we should minimize the breaks, try and get as much information done on the first day to give us enough time for all the members of the committee to ask the relevant questions that we would like to ask on the 8th. So I think we should perhaps just make short 15-minute breaks and then only a half an hour perhaps for lunch, and proceed with the rest of the day. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. The EFF.
Thank you, Chair. I think we're more than fine. And I agree that we should allow the evidence leaders to proceed uninterrupted on the first day. And where there is a point of necessity, through the chair, that opportunity might be provided so that if there's an issue of a person not being audible, or a person answered in a manner that it doesn't make sense, so we may want to ask as to what is their answer, so that when we go back to prepare for our turn, we come well prepared. And the chair, the allocation of times, you will be from time to time testing those issues with us. You will be able to say, are we proceeding or are we breaking at this point? After realizing that we might have pushed a lot of issues because, like one speaker said, we started very late. I didn't understand the issue of the chairperson of the Intelligence Committee meeting with our team as to what are the issues there, because we thought by now we should be having a report on the Joint Standing Committee from our team in terms of classified documents and things like that, as to how we're going to proceed with that. And the last point is that not necessarily directed to the SC, but to you in particular and the staff. What criteria do we use to exclude other public submissions? Because we're already receiving calls here that the staff responded and said, my submission does not qualify for me to be called to come and testify. Where do they get such a power from? Because those public submissions are not invited by staff members. They're invited by us. let them bring the submissions that were received from the public, and we'll go through them. Even if they bring them in a form of a summarized version and all of that, where we seek more clarity, we may ask for full submission of that particular person. But to outrightly just dismiss people from back office, that's an abuse of power. And if we're going to start like that, we invite public and then we come and silence it. Please look into that, Chair. It's very important. Thanks.
Yeah. No, yeah. The Honorable Matthys has raised that matter with me. If you look at our advert, the closing date for submissions is the 17th of October. But I think members can also determine. It's not something that we may want to decide today. If members may want to get a daily or a weekly report on the number of submissions that have received, because I should think what the technical team is doing now is to record all the submissions that they have received. And it's a matter which we also decided in the terms of reference that the committee is the one that will decide who qualifies to be a witness and who does not. I don't think that any official would have done that. If they did that, I agree with you that they are totally wrong to have done that. But I think committee members can advise whether they want us to wait for the 17th closing date, or whether on a weekly basis you need to get a report on the applications which would have been made to others. Honorable Nwango.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I think one is satisfied with the the presentation of the evidence leader in relation to what will actually be happening on the first day, and also on the second day.
No, Chair. No, sorry. So I'm very sorry to do this. Chair, I've raised 3 issues. One, the other one, seek clarity about the chairperson of a joint standing committee, because we are beginning to sense that there is some deliberate attempt to want to sabotage the work of this committee by the joint standing committee chairperson, who was supposed to meet our evidence leader. And I was saying I did not understand the input the evidence leader spoke on this matter, and I will need clarity.
Yeah, honorable member, what will happen is that, okay, maybe let me give the senior counsel to respond, because I had thought at the end of the rotation, before we conclude on the items, we were going to give to the senior counsel to deal with the issues that the members would have raised. But maybe you may want to raise a follow-up, and it will be fair to allow him to respond to that matter before we go to Honorable Mwango.
Chair, you want me to respond now to Honorable Malema's questions? So, Chair, in relation to the classified information issue and the chair of the joint committee and the IGI, the IGI had indicated, I think it's almost 2 weeks ago now, that before he meets with us, he wanted some direction from the chair of the joint committee. We then referred that matter to you to assist, and perhaps you should report to the committee about your meeting with the joint chair, and as I understand it, also with the chair of chairs, to now clear the way for us to have such a meeting. And that meeting has yet to be arranged, Chair. As far as just while I have the floor, public submissions, several have been referred to us. We haven't had an opportunity to fully engage with these submissions, but I believe that there have been quite a number of submissions, and there's some kind of sifting process that's being followed. I'm not in a position to comment on that, but I think primarily I don't know if it's Andile and his team. They're looking at whether these submissions actually engage the terms of reference of this committee, but I'm not in a position to comment on that. But there've been a number of submissions which it seems we will have to engage. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. No, thank you so much, Senior Counsel. The engagements with the chair of the Joint Standing Committee and the chair of chairs, we reported in the last meeting that those meetings happened. The chief whip was also present in our meeting with the Joint Standing Committee chairperson, and all the matters that the committee has requested us to raise with the JSCI chair, we did that, and we reached an agreement that they should cooperate with our officials. The chair of chairs even gave us an official in his office who should be contacted in case the technical team experience difficulties. Let me check, Bonani, are you able to come in and clarify whether there have been latest engagements since our last meeting with the chief whip and the chairperson of the JSCI?
Chairperson may be subject to corrections from Andile or Dr. Twalo. That meeting is still not materialized because the manager that side was of the view that there was nothing that he could add, but we are still pursuing it. Thank you, Chair.
Let's put it in such a way that members will understand it. After the last meeting where we gave a report that the chief whip and I met with the JSCI chair, we instructed yourselves as the technical team to resume engagements with the office of the JSCI chairperson, particularly that there was a name of an official who was given to us that is the contact person. Did you try to? Bonani?
Chairperson, I lost you.
Yes, I wanted to check if after the last meeting that we had with the chief whip and the JSCI chair, whether you still encountered difficulties with the contact person in the office of the JSCI chair.
Chair, there's been nothing positive so far, but maybe let me ask Andile or Dr. Twano to add if there's something.
Okay.
Dr. Twalo, Chair, will address you.
Hello, Andile.
Yes, Chair, I'm expecting Dr. Twala to come in, Chairperson, because this is a matter which she has been working on, not myself.
Good afternoon, Chair. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, Dr. Twala. Yes, we can hear you. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I have nothing to add to what Bonani has actually reported in this meeting as yet, but we are still trying to get to a meeting with the concerned person. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, okay, that is the report, Honorable Malem. Can I check if you want to make a follow-up?
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Malem.
Yeah, I think you need to go back to the drawing board, because if you went to a meeting and then there was some form of agreement that suggested we'll have some form of progress, and now we're sitting here and we're being told nothing has come out of that engagement. You may want to again go back and call those people and say, where lies the problem and how do we resolve it? Because the work of the committee has started now. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Honorable Mngango.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I was actually, noting what the evidence leader actually had given us as the program for the first day, namely that he will actually be the main actor in terms of, interacting with the chief witness. And also, I note that on the second day will actually be, we will actually have the opportunity to interact directly with the witness. I also do agree that in the interest of time, we perhaps would need to shorten the periods of these intervals, the breaks, in order to catch up with the lost time, so that we are actually within the time frame given to this kind of activity. Instead of having an hour lunch break, we break for perhaps 30 minutes or so. So I'm comfortable with that, Chair. Otherwise, I'm in agreement with what has actually been presented so far. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sals.
All good, Chair.
Honorable Sals.
Honorable Chair, could you hear me?
Honorable Sals.
Could you hear me, Chair? I was saying it's all good.
Oh, you are fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can I check with the senior counsel if he may want to make a reply to the matters that honorable members have engaged on?
No, thank you, Chair. I'm covered. Thank you.
Honorable members, thank you Chairperson. Hello, Honorable Nomvalo.
Yes, Chair. I've raised the issue of follow-up questions. And then I was hoping, Chair, to hear the response of the technical team so that we can have a position on this matter. If really there are members of the public whose applications have been declined, we need to take a decision or a position as this committee that if such decisions have been taken, then they must be revoked because they don't have the authority to do that. It rests within the powers of the committee. I thought they are going to respond on whether that is true or not. And if it is true, then such applications which have already been declined by them must be reinstated, and then for the committee to make the final determination.
Yeah, no, that is a fair point. Can we hear from the Skosana?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I've raised my hand long ago. I'm not sure whether you did not pick it up. I don't want to interfere whilst you are busy addressing us. But I just wanted to add, because my colleague there as well has raised that issue, which I wanted to ask, because I think in the last, but not, I think on which, not the last meeting, the issue of public submission that will be closed, as you said, on the 17th of October. And some of the applications have been in. It's not a secret. In fact, I've shared the same because Lay Matthias as well. They've sent him that. There's a gentleman called Mr. Bambi, who said all those. It's a fact that it was rejected by the technical team. But my question is that I'm not sure how are we going to handle that. For instance, if I give you an example. If we get 10,000 public submission, how are we going to I'm sucking. I don't know how many people are going to submit, but I'm playing a devil's advocate. If we get 10,000 or less or more, how are we going to prioritize because we've got a closing date? What will be the criteria of all these matters which are going to be sent by the public and the civil society and whatever? What criteria as well, because as far as the committee is concerned, I don't think we have as yet. Maybe we have to develop, or is there? I'm not aware. But I'm just asking, how are we going to decline and accept others as well? I thank you, Chair.
Look, can I get the technical team to respond on the claims that there are applications which have been made and those applications were declined?
Good afternoon, Chair. May I respond to that?
Yes, Dr. Tulia.
Yes, thank you so much, Chair. Let me say, Chair, that I wasn't aware that there were responses of that nature sent to the persons who have submitted to the committee. But I can assure members that all those submissions will be put together and presented before the committee itself, and members can take a decision as to the relevance of a submission. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Honorable Skosana, the person that you talk about, you say is who?
Chair. I'm saying perhaps to protect him, but he's the same member which my colleague Elaine Matthias as well was talking about. It's true. There was a response from the technical team, but as I said earlier, I'm not sure which criteria, because some of the issues as well are related to rape cases. Some of the issues are related to, there's a lot of things. So there must be perhaps a criteria of what cases are we. I don't know. I don't have a solution, but I'm saying that the issue is that if we receive thousands and thousands, are we going to hear all of them, or there will be a team which will deal with these matters to say this one, yes, can come to the committee, not this one. I'm not sure what criteria are we going to use, because maybe we're going to get a lot of hundreds or thousands of them. And I just wanted to find out how are we going to deal with that. But I can confirm that there's one gentleman which his submission was rejected by the technical team.
Okay, because I know there is a gentleman who also called me, who was complaining that the technical team was not saying anything to him, and I explained to him that we are yet to finalize the matters with the leadership of the SAPS, and once we know who is going to appear first from the SAPS, we will then accordingly revert to him and inform once the committee has made a decision. But then I heard him one day on radio complaining that he spoke to the chairperson of the committee, and it's like he's losing confidence. I know South Africans may have issues that feel that they feel very strong about them, that they must appear before the committee. But I think it's also fair that the committee is allowed to do its work according to the terms of reference, and also give itself time to go through the applications that would have been made before it and arrive at a decision. Maybe next time, honorable members, if we have issues like this, they may not do that to the committee chairperson, or they can do that to any member of a committee, even if people choose to be anonymous, but they can write a formal complaint so that we are able to deal with their matters in a formal way. But that does not take away the fact that you would have received calls from anonymous persons in society. Every matter which is brought before us must be given the attention that it deserves. Honorable Malema, I heard you wanted to speak.
No, Chair, I was saying there's an attachment on the group there already of a person who complained, and the staff responded and dismissed that person. The staff has got no jurisdiction, whether the person is complaining about rape or what. They've got no jurisdiction to dismiss such people. All they can do is to summarize those things and then bring them to us. And then we'll be able to make a decision about those issues. Let's say, for instance, Kelly Kumalo's issue and Senzo Meiwa were not public. And then someone gets shot in that particular house. A high-ranking general, it is alleged that he went to fetch a firearm from that particular person. We should be alarmed. We should be able to say, no, perhaps let's listen to these people. Is this not similar to some of the things that we came across as we're interviewing these people, that generals have a potential of interfering in the case of rape, for that matter? Yes. So because it's not high profile doesn't mean it doesn't deserve us. Every case that we think it has got merit and they've submitted it to us, we will take a decision. If it doesn't, we'll take a collective decision that we will not be seeing this one, and it shall be communicated. There will not be happy, of course, others, but would have satisfied ourselves. Thanks.
Yeah. No, honorable members, I agree with you that it would have been awfully wrong if there is any member of staff who would have responded to an application without the knowledge of the committee. but we will follow up with that matter, and the application will still be considered by the committee. Honorable Skosana, your hand is still up.
Chair, sorry. I think it's a legacy hand. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, honorable members, we have received a report on the order of proceedings and the availability of sworn statements, and I've taken the point that Honorable Nomvalo has said regarding the 3 working days, and I think the legal team has noted the point that going forward, let's improve and make sure that we get those statements within 3 working days. And the order of proceedings, members are saying that let us run from 9 o'clock where it may be necessary for us to break. That determination should be made, and that we may also not have to decide it now that we will finish at 6 o'clock. We will see as the day goes by whether we have reached a stage where we should call it a day or not. And there is also a matter of follow-up questions which has been raised, or maybe let's say, for instance, 2 matters. One is where members feel very strongly that there is a necessity to supplement the work that will be done by the senior counsel during the evidence leading exercise. Members should be allowed to come in reasonably, of course. And the second one is where members may have follow-up questions. One member fills a question, and the question is not adequately answered, but the member does not make a follow-up. And another member of a committee may want to make a follow-up. That should be allowed, honorable members, and I think the chair will allow that to happen, but in such a way that it does not become a misused opportunity, an abused opportunity. But I think follow-up questions should be allowed. Maybe what we can do, we can announce on how we regulate that. If we want to limit a member to one or 2 follow-up questions. Yeah. Can we agree that we limit a member to 2 follow-up questions?
Let's leave it to your hands, Chair. There's no problem with that. The only issue may be that none of us might have a follow-up question and just one of us. So let's leave it to your hand. You will regulate it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Senior counsel.
Yes, Chair.
You said or maybe before I call you in, I think the other matter which Honorable Malema raised has to do with the follow-up meeting with the chair of chairs and the JCI chair to inform them that the agreements that we have reached have still not materialized. Senior counsel, you said you have a matter you wanted to raise with the committee relating to capacity.
No, just also Did I mention this to you separately? The matter that I wanted to raise. Well, it was just at last week's Friday's meeting when at least two members mentioned that the evidence leaders, we appear to have enough time on our hands to do certain things, and the impression was that we were not busy or not doing anything. And even today, there was an oblique reference when mention was made about making the statements available in good time to the committee members. So I just want to assure the honourable members that we are stretched. We are working to more than full capacity on a daily basis, day and night. It's not an easy exercise having to wade through a lot of information, and to the extent that we have been assisted by being provided statements by the Nhlanhla evidence leaders, as discussed and agreed between you, Chair, and Justice Nhlanhla and ourselves and the other evidence leaders. In fact, it to an extent has also added to our work, because we have to also work through those statements. And as I said, we want to avoid a complete duplication of statements. Our statement is of a supplementary nature, which contains one, new information, and two, focuses on our terms of reference. So thank you for the opportunity, Chair. Just wanted to assure everybody that we are trying our level best to stick to the mandate of this committee to get the work done. As far as the submissions from members of the public are concerned, we have received a number of them. We haven't had the opportunity of looking at them closely. Some statements, I must say, at this point seem not to be in line with the terms of reference. There are members of the public who feel that this is an opportunity for them to raise grievances that they have. Some matters have already been to, for example, the Labour Court or the CCMA, and they, according to them, they've been unfairly dismissed. So those kinds of issues. But perhaps to be fair, if committee members wish to look at all these submissions in their own time, and they feel strongly that some of these submissions should be tabled, as it were, before this committee, and that the evidence leaders must look more closely at them, then perhaps that opportunity should be given to them. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, no, Senior Counsel, the matter that I wanted you to speak to is as we move to the second phase. Remember now, almost all the consultations with the witnesses that we have identified have been concluded. And as we move to the second phase, you can imagine in the next 2 weeks, we will be conducting hearings. And whatever time we finish with the hearings, whether we're going to finish in the next 2 weeks or after a month, we will then have to go into the second phase of hearings. So I wanted to check if you have the capacity to withstand the heavy load that will be coming, because you can hear now that we also have submissions from the public, which will also require us to go through them at the time the 17th comes. It means we may add to the list of witnesses that have to come and appear before the committee. So I wanted to check with you at the time the second list is agreed to by the committee, which may be longer than what we had to go through now. Will you have the requisite capacity to cope? That is exactly what I'm asking.
Chair, I think provided there is a proper break between the two phases, if we finish this first phase, as it were, for example, in say 3 weeks' time, 2 weeks, and some spillover into a third week, and if there's a break of 5 to 7 days, then it's possible that we could cope. I think we are now in this first phase. We are going to deal and conclude with some of the more important or most important witnesses or people whose names have thus far featured, for example, in the Nhlanhla inquiry, and to the extent that there's another list, we'll just have to work through it. And obviously, Chair, if we do really encounter severe capacity constraints, then we'll raise it with you, and you will do so with the honourable members, and we'll raise it with Parliament and with the State Attorney. At this stage, although the list of witnesses raised at the previous meeting, which still has to be finalized, looks somewhat daunting, I think we'll have to wait and see what is finally decided, Chair.
Okay. No. Thank you so much. I don't think we will discuss the matter today. I wanted you to bring it to the attention of members so that they should keep it in their minds and think about it, so that we can properly advise each other where interventions may be necessary. Members would have had a feel of the issue, a proper understanding that the load may become too heavy, and the technical team may also suffer capacity constraints. And in case we find ourselves in a situation like that, how do we move forward? And I also hear the suggestion that you make that the committee may also consider giving you a 1 week break, so that, giving itself a 1 week break, so that a 1 week interval, so that you have enough time to do your work. But I think the committee members had it. They will think about it, and for sure, very soon we will discuss. We will discuss the matter as we move forward. Honourable members, we tells if there could be any matter outstanding before we call the meeting off. Any matter related to the preparations which any one of you will need to be clarified.
Thank you, Chair. I think there was an issue of safety which was discussed, the issue of transport, because 9 o'clock, as you know, Cape Town in the mornings, we have to make sure that we are there. And the next week, it's oversight visits, whether we'll have buses there or we'll have transport in the morning to make sure that we are not coming late there. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Tuli.
Chairperson.
Hello, Bonani.
Yes, we were trying to establish if there are buses, but also we were going to ask you, to indicate if for next week we should arrange special transport for members from the village and then back from Parliament.
What is normally the procedure?
Chair, if buses are available, then members usually take the available buses to Parliament. But obviously, at times there are concerns about traffic and the times at which buses leave villages to Parliament. Sometimes members get there very late. So in that event, we arrange special transport for members.
Okay. Yeah, obviously in the afternoon you may need to organize transport for members, but I think it's a matter which you can take up with your seniors and check and also check with individual members what will be the needs and determine if it is possible to arrange transport in the morning. But in the evening, I can tell you it's a must. There should be transport arranged for members.
We have noted that, Chairperson.
Okay. Any other matter, honorable members? Okay,
No,
I'm not.
We want to ask you to close the meeting.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any hand, Chief Whip. I want to take this opportunity and thank you, honorable members, for coming to the meeting, for attending, all of you, and the inputs that you have made in this meeting. But most importantly, you ensuring that you are ready for the 7th of October, and you know what is going to happen on that day. It makes me very happy, and I should think that all of you are satisfied with the kind of preparations that have been made. I want to thank you, all of you, for your participation in the meeting, and I'm taking this opportunity to call the meeting off. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honourable Member.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you, colleague.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and please advocate for allowances appearing